Hi guys, I'm Emily from Jones Design Company and you're watching Coffee Chat. This is where we talk about kind of some random things that if we were to have coffee sitting face to face, maybe these are the things that we would talk about. Okay, so at the beginning of the year, I decided it would be super fun if I turned these into live coffee chats so that there could be a little more interaction. It wouldn't feel so much like me just talking to a camera, but I would be actually talking and interacting with you online. So I did it twice and it actually was super fun. But I think I'm not gonna do it anymore. And I feel so dumb for trying something and then deciding only after 2 times that it's just maybe not for me. But let me tell you real quick, if you tuned in, I love it. I'm so glad that you were there. It actually was really fun. The reasons that I'm gonna say not to keep going live now at this point are a couple of things. I scheduled it for Tuesdays at 11 my time, which I know on the East Coast that my hope was that it would get you, kind of mid-afternoon before maybe if kids or dinner or things needed to happen. So 11 o'clock on Tuesdays seemed to work. However, that I take bar class and it's from 9 until 10:15, and so I would rush home, try to like make myself look presentable and then jump right on, and my adrenaline was just going like crazy, and so it always felt like it was super rushed. So that's one reason. Sure, I could change the time, but that was a time that just kind of worked for our weekly schedule and worked hopefully for the time zone difference. Okay, the other reason that I didn't love it is that the video quality and the sound quality drive me crazy. So I'm sure, again, I could do my best to figure out like what better microphone to use or how to get the lighting a little bit better, but it felt like if you were gonna watch them after they were recorded, they felt so ugly, the videos, that I probably wouldn't really wanna watch it either because it just, like, the quality was just not great. So that's number 2. Number 3 is that I just don't know that I truly have enough interesting things to talk about every week. I think we all have just like pretty normal lives, and so unless there's something great going on, I kind of felt like I didn't have enough things to bring up and do topics. So my hope now is to do every other week and just do them video like this. And then the last reason is that I did an open Q&A at the end of each of the coffee chats, and I love doing it because I think like talking about the questions and answering them is super fun for me. But they ended up being like 45 minutes long, which is just so long for anyone. I don't want to ask any of you guys to watch any video for 45 minutes. So all to say, it was a great experiment. I'm not saying I'll never do it again, but for now, I think just these like quick, maybe 10-ish minute video recordings is just a little bit better for my schedule and hopefully I think for yours. And then maybe we'll do every once in a while like a live Q&A, or if you have questions that you want me to talk about on Coffee Chats, because it is really fun to interact that way rather than me just kind of coming up with topics that I feel like talking about. But so if you have questions that you want me to chat about, either as a blog post, I love getting suggestions. So someone just the other day said, can you come up with like your favorite font pairings when you're designing? And I'm like, yes, that's a great blog post, I'll do that. So I love getting suggestions. And also if you have questions that you want me to talk about in Coffee Chat, I would love to do it too. So no more live for now. We'll see how it goes. Okay, today I want to talk about a few more things. The first one is, have you seen these new love stamps? Let's see, we'll zoom in. These are by Anna Bond, I think is her last name, from Rifle Paper. Is this camera zooming in right? I don't know. This is the thing about videos. I don't really know what I'm doing. It's just kind of fun. Anyway, Anna Bond from Rifle Paper Company. She's just one of the most adorable artists. I have notebooks and art prints and things from her, but she has a new love stamp out at the post office. So I actually had to go to 2 different post offices to find one, but I did find them, and aren't they adorable? I can't wait to send. One of the things on my 40 by 40 list is to send more handwritten notes, so now I have really cute stamps to do that. So you can get that at your post office, or I think you can order them online, which would be smart too. Okay, I have a stack of books that I can't wait to tell you about. See, stack of books. First one, If You Only Knew by Jamie Ivey. Oop, whole thing. This one, Jamie is a friend of mine, so she sent me a copy, which was so sweet, and I read it this week in a heartbeat. Here's the truth about my reading things. I think I've told you this before. I don't love typically the genre of like Christian living kind of self-helpy books, but for some reason, this one completely resonated with me, and I can wholeheartedly recommend it. And I actually, with most of this kind of genre of book, I always think like, oh, the message sounds amazing, I definitely want to read it. And then I get like halfway into it and I sort of lose steam. This one I actually read front to back, and I just read it in just this week, like in a couple of days. It's so good. It's about her story and being vulnerable, and that by being vulnerable, it will open up other people to also feel comfortable being vulnerable. But ultimately what this story is about Jesus's forgiveness and redemption, and just the beauty of who he allows us to go through these difficult things, and we make some really terrible choices, and yet he redeems it. And so it's a great story. If you know Jamie, if you listen to her podcast, it's called The Happy Hour with Jamie Ivey. So it's a great book if you kind of are familiar with her and you just want to learn a little bit more about her story. But it's also a really, really good book if you feel like you walk around with shame and guilt and you just can't quite get over it, and you've done things in your life that you feel like are just unforgivable. Even if you like believe that Jesus has forgiven you, but you still kind of walk around with that shame, I would love for you to get this book. It's such a beautiful story, and I just think it's really applicable to all of us, whether we've done really, really bad things or just kind of mildly bad things. It's all bad. It's all sin, and she does such a beautiful job of sharing her story and really pointing us to Jesus. So Jamie Ivey, it's an amazing book. She's doing a book tour, and so I mentioned this a couple weeks ago that I will be at her Seattle book tour, which is March 6th. It's a Tuesday in Seattle. So if you are local and you want to come, I will be there. My sisters will be there. I have some friends that will be there, and I'd love to say hi and then just shower Jamie with amazing a party to celebrate her book. Okay, next one is this book that I just got an advance copy to read and talk about. I haven't opened it yet, but it's by Christy Woodson Harvey, and it's the second in a series of books about these three daughters and their mom. And so if you know me, I have two sisters and our mom, and so I loved it. It takes place in the South in Georgia, I believe, and it's just such a perfect like beach read. So I think it should be out this summer. I will read it and I will tell you what I think. Her first book, if you want to start that, is called Slightly South of Simple, and it was really, really cute. It's like a great kind of beach read, fun to kind of get involved in these ladies' lives, but I really like that one. I'm excited to read that one. A couple weeks ago, I asked you all if you had any recommendations for teenage books, and I ended up getting this one. It's by Paul Tripp, who also wrote this morning devotional that I've been reading, which is so good, called New Morning Mercies, I think. I've talked about that before too. But this one is called Age of Opportunity, about parenting teens. I hate to say that I have not cracked it open yet, but I will, and I'm excited. So thank you to all of you for recommending great teenage parenting books. If you are a teenage parent, a mom or dad who's raising teenagers, and you need recommendations, I'll link to it, but back a couple of coffee chats ago, I talked about needing some recommendations, and there were a million in the comments. So if you need some help with that, there's a good resource. Okay, next thing is kid books. My sister-in-law bought this whole series for Audrey, so there's 6 of them, and it's called Mercy Watson. It's about this pig who lives with her owners and just the silly things that they go through. It's illustrated by Chris Van Dusen, who is one of my favorite illustrators of children books. I'll link to another post that I've written about his illustrations in the books that we love so much, just picture books. But these little pretty easy to read chapter books, but they're not necessarily like easy reads. So some of them I've read to her, but she's in 2nd grade, so she can do it. But they're adorable. The stories are really sweet. They're quick reads. Like you can read through the whole thing in like 15 or 20 minutes if you are doing bedtime reading. They're adorable. So I highly recommend that. Mercy Watson. And actually, the author, Kate DiCamillo, has written a bunch of other books that we have a couple of them in our house too, but she's great. Okay, last book, I'm like out of breath, is this new Lent study. I talked about this on Instagram a few days ago. Lent starts on Monday, February 12th, so coming up. I think that's the right date, but it is coming up. And this is the Lent study book from She Reads Truth. I'm not sure that you can get the book anymore, but you can read the daily devotion every day on their website for free at shereadstruth.com, or on their app. You can, I think it's like $1.99 or something, and you can buy it on the app. I actually love doing the study through the app because there's a little bit of a community component, and so I love reading through what other women who are doing the study, kind of what their reflections are afterwards. Or if you have the book, it's just a great way to kind of journal through what you're learning during Lent. So I think this might be, maybe last year I did the Lent study, but I'm really excited for it this year. If you are not familiar with Lent, or you just want a little bit of like a primer on what it's about, there was a great episode on the Annie Downs podcast called That Sounds Fun with the ladies and Russ, who does He Reads Truth. So Rachel and Amanda are the ladies for She Reads Truth, and then Russ for He Reads Truth, and they talk to Annie all about Lent and about this study. And so if you're gonna do it, it starts on Monday, which is great. Okay, you know what starts this weekend? I'm so excited. The Olympics. I love the Olympics. Maybe actually last night I was flipping through channels and there was curling on, and it was like Canada versus Norway. And Ryan and I have no idea how you play curling, but we sat there mesmerized watching it because it's the Olympics and I love it. So that starts, the opening games start, let's see, Friday. That's today. Actually, I'm recording this on Thursday, but Friday is opening games, or the opening ceremony, which I just love, 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 and I'll be tuned in. I'm gonna be staying up so late every night, I'm sure, watching it. But yay, Olympics, go Team USA. But ultimately, like, I just love the stories that they share about the athletes, and I just think it's so incredible what they do. So I'll be tuning in. Also this weekend, my now 14-year-old son is having 13 of his friends over to play airsoft all in our yard, and then eat a bunch of food and be in our house. So wish me luck. 14-year-olds. Should be fun. Anyway, thanks so much for tuning in. I'm glad that you're here, and I'll be back maybe in a couple weeks once I have more things to talk about. If you have any questions or comments or things that you would like to chat about, please leave those below, and we'll chat next time.